Let me give you the Cowboy update. For those who don't know, Ezekiel Elliott will not be wearing number 21. If you haven't heard, he's going to wear number 15.
Yes.
The number that he wore in New England. But more importantly, that's his number from Ohio State, his college days. That's the number he grew up with. He wants it back. There were some people speculating that, oh, maybe that means Stephon Gilmore, maybe coming back. Well, because Stephon Gilmore wears number 21 now. Stephon Gilmore is a free agent. He's not talking to anybody right now because people are forgetting this part. He had shoulder surgery this offseason. And at his age, in his 30s, as a veteran, you ain't talking to nobody unless you can pass a physical. It's just that simple. So Stephon Gilmore, whether he wears number 21 or not, it may be available. Will the Dallas Cowboys re-sign him? I have no idea. But don't try to connect the dots of Zeke. At first, he was coming back to wear number 21, and now he switched to 15. That means Gilmore is sticking. No, don't go there.
Yeah, and I don't know, Gilly. I know that I've seen some kind of speculation on where he Carolina's obviously come up because he's played there before, and
he's from
that's
there.
home exactly. I've seen some speculation that maybe Green Bay could be a place that he could be utilized, especially with the amount of youth that they have on the roster.
Mm-hmm. He's the old head in the locker room, that very wise.
And he brought that for you this past season with the Dallas Cowboys. You saw that him bring that feeling to what was happening there. We're currently on the lookout for head coach of the Dallas Wings, Letitia Trammell, because they got a big game tomorrow evening against the Indiana Fever. They have a new player you might have heard of, Caitlin Clark.
Oh, yeah. I saw her on Saturday Night Live. Oh, no, I saw her even more on Saturday Night Live. I saw her in the Final Four. She's been the college player of the year basically the last couple of years. She is the women's college basketball version of Steph Curry. And she is making names. And when the Indiana Fever got her, it's like, okay, where are they on the Dallas Stars schedule? Ironically, they have an exhibition game tomorrow night, the same damn time the Dallas Mavericks are playing their game, and of course, the same time the Dallas Stars are playing their game. So it's like, oh man, the Dallas Wings are in the news because she will come back again, but it'll be later in the season. I think it's the first weekend in September, right around Labor Day. I can't remember exactly when Labor Day is going to fall, but this is your first chance to see her if you haven't seen her in person. The ticket sales are through the roof for this entire season because the WNBA, just like women's college basketball, all of a sudden, all eyes are on it and everybody's enjoying it.
Absolutely. And so excited to hopefully get a chance to talk to Coach LT. We talked to her last year. She was a delight, and obviously they had a really good season there. It's a fun time all the way across the DFW. The Cowboys have been the place where it's been a little bit frustrating. And I was asked this question earlier today, CM. I'm kind of interested in your perspective on it, right? And I have a feeling I know where this will go because we've had enough conversation about the Cowboys. This offseason, do you feel like the Cowboys took it seriously this offseason and building this team? Because, I mean, obviously, like, you can look at all the different ways they end up after the draft not having taken a running back. I know that there's a lot of people that look at this and say probably not. How do you feel? Do you feel like the Cowboys are taking this thing seriously?
The phrase may be wrong because I don't feel like they've done everything to completely utilize all the weapons in the team building process. In other words, they like to say we're drafting development first, but last year they actually did more. So for them to actually put a tiptoe into free agency, make a trade or two, and utilize the draft as well, I thought last year, they did some moves we didn't ever see before because they've been so conservative, just relying on the draft. This is what concerned me about this offseason. It was the fact that they said, yeah, we're drafting development. Well, guess what? How many plug-and-play players can you get since you lost so many people, so many veterans off of your roster? That was my concern. You won. This is the context of it all. Yep, they lost to Green Bay in the playoffs. It was a smack in the face. It shocked the world. All phases of the football team let you down. Coaches, players, special teams, offense, defense, you name it. Front office, everybody let you down. They had a 16-game home winning streak, and Green Bay smacked them around with a young team that really wasn't even supposed to be in the playoffs. With that being said, they had won 12 games again. Do you realize they've had 3 seasons of 12-win seasons? That's 36 victories. There's only one team in the NFL that had that many or more than that many regular season victories. That's the Kansas City Chiefs, which shows you the Dallas Cowboys, who couldn't seem to get to the NFC Championship game, have failed. And you would think they would do something different, because what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result. I'm talking about saying we're only going to worry about draft and development. I'm like, you have too many needs. You have too many holes to fill. And more importantly, as much as I love Wilma Clay and as much as I love the fact that the team, generally speaking, drafts very, very well. This last year's draft, who helped you? Nobody. In the words of Keith Sweat, nobody. Mozzie didn't help you. Scooty, the tight end, you already had tight ends. He didn't help you. So you didn't have any real help from that draft. Not to say that it's going to happen again this year, but you can't put all those chips into one part of team building. It takes more than that. And so I can't imagine them winning 12 games again. You mentioned the running back. Okay, we were hoping they'd get Brooks. They were hoping they'd get Brooks. Well, guess what? Somebody snuck up and got him. Carolina got him. And then what was the backup plan? Nothing. Ezekiel Elliott is not going to be your feature back. We already know that. He was brought in to be a third down specialist, pass protection guy, and along the goal line, score some touchdowns. And I said this when everybody was like, oh, you shouldn't have got Zeke. Keep this in mind. It's not for you and I to judge. It's not even for the Cowboys front office to judge. It's about the defensive coordinators to judge. Remember this. If you're the defensive coordinator taking on the Dallas Cowboys, do you respect Ezekiel Elliott, or is he a cone? You follow what I'm saying? It's real simple. Do you say, I got a game plan for him, Zeke's in the game, or do you say, F him, we're just going to go after Dak, or we're just going to stop CD? Or do you say, this guy could threaten and make a first down, or he could threaten and score a touchdown? People conveniently forget his last year with the Dallas Cowboys, he scored 17 touchdowns on the goal line. 17. So as far as him being a feature back, I can't see that. So that means they still have unfinished business. And to me, are they taking it seriously? Not as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I was asked this question, and the answer that I actually gave was yes, but I think that you have to understand where I'm coming from. It feels like they're taking this seriously but not for this season. Right? It feels like they're trying to do a retool year or,
without
reload
calling
or
it
whatever.
that.
But I think that's the issue.
Mm-hmm.
They have gone, and Jerry Jones, this is the thing that I found to be insane to me, is that they fought to double down on this idea that, no, we're all in for this year. And I don't know how you look at the fullness of what they have undertaken in this offseason and think that they're in for this year, right? I can see how you could look at the ways that they're trying to get themselves back, get all the salary cap, kind of situations all back in order. A lot of young talent with high ceilings, right?
Yeah.
Maybe necessarily low floors. But, you look at that and you look at, just even the first round pick, Tyler Guyton, right? A lot of tools, very toolsy. Looks like he'll be developing to a really good left tackle. But, still early on in development, right? You still have, to see some things from him. That's how it feels like this roster is, where it's like, it's still early on. You have some upside at some point, but right now it's still early on. And I think that's honestly the most frustrating from my perspective. And I can't speak for anyone else, but don't lie to our faces, right? In that regard.
That's what they're doing. And when they keep leaning on the salary cap, well, we can because of the cap. Yes, you can. All teams do it a variety of ways, okay? Even the Rams have done it a variety of ways, and they won a Super Bowl. Eagles have done it a variety of ways. The reason I get irritated about the salary cap is team owners, or even the Dallas Cowboys in particular, they'll say, but the salary cap, when they know damn well the salary cap goes up every year exponentially, and it did so this past offseason. So you can say we can't, and you're kicking the can down the curb, but guess what? It's kind of like knowing you're going to be it's kind of like knowing your family's going to have another $100,000 to play with, as opposed to, this family's household is only $65,000 a year. We can't get by. Guess what? Next year, you're guaranteed to go up $100,000. All the income coming is at $100,000. The salary cap keeps going up, and they can claim the salary cap all they want, but they act like it's finite, and that's what drives me crazy. And the ones that don't lose their minds over it, the Dak Prescotts and their agents, the Micah Parsons and his agent, because they know the game. They know teams can say salary cap, salary cap, salary cap, and guess what? It always solves itself. And several teams can do it without taking steps back. Rams.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Okay, so, yeah, I found that to be kind of an interesting question. I'm glad that I appreciate you going with me there. How about this? Let's talk a little bit about these Mavs.
Before we do that, let me say one thing. We got a text from Kenny. I think it says Kenny. It says Zeke scored. And I'm gonna let you answer this because you did it so well the other night.
Okay.
It says, yep, but Zeke only scored. Yes, Zeke scored 17 touchdowns with the Cowboys, but he averaged 2.5 yards per carry on his last 50 carries with the New England, and only averaged 2.9. I mean, what he's talking about is Zeke wasn't effective in New England.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought you brought up a brilliant point that a lot of people conveniently forget about the New England offense last year.
Yeah, that wasn't a good offense. I think that we all recognize that was not.
But the people who casually throw out stuff like that guy, you got to tell the people. In other words, you know, and experts know. But the casual fan will say, wow, Zeke only had this in New England. Tell them about that offense again.
No, I mean, it was not a good offense. It was not a really well-designed offense. And honestly, it did not have a lot of tools. It's one of the reasons why they're going about the rebuild that they are.
Who was the quarterback who's not there anymore?
Oh, McCorkle?
Matt McCorkle.
Yeah,
and where did he send? He's now a backup quarterback. Yeah. Where?
He's a backup for the Jaguars.
So there was no real threat of a passing attack to go with this run game, right?
No,
I'm just spelling it out in plain terms. For those who may not be able to keep up with you.
Yeah, and one of the things for me is I'm still not entirely even certain. We have to see what Ezekiel Elliott still has, and one of the things you brought up, and I think you're right in this, like that pass blocking still remains something that he can bring to you. I think a lot of people feel confident in the idea that those big backyards, and I know that was something that you were missing last season. You handed the ball to Hunter Lipke, and for a few runs, he was toting it well, and then he fumbled, and it felt like the coaching staff lost faith in his ability to do that consistently.
And then Tony Pollard didn't get into the end zone a couple of games, and he's like, oh man,
right. So I just
wished he could have just done it.
Right. That would be really helpful to have Ezekiel Elliott in that capacity. But I mean, look, there's still Will McClay on this very station, 105 through the Fan. He was on with the KNC Masterpiece. Was it yesterday? And he was talking about the fact that they're going running back by committee, and those words by committee. I understand if there's a Cowboys fan out there that their neck gets itchy when they hear that, right?
Man,
like
wide receiver by committee didn't work,
right? And so I think that's a level of frustration amongst many others with the Cowboys as of right now. But as you said, I mean, the hope that you have with this team, and I'm not here to like peddle hope, but like if you are looking for it, the hope that you have is there's a lot of youth that they're trying to cultivate, and this draft class is another one of those. And I think you'll start to get some level of insight into what that looks like, as you were talking about, once you get these guys in training camp.
So what you're saying is, watch out. Don't believe what they say. Watch what they do. But at the same time, they're not saying they're rebuilding, but they're rebuilding. Because if you go by your eyes, they're rebuilding. If you go by your ears, we're all in.
Right. And I think that's exactly the way to put it. CA, the Jerry Whisperer, as we like to call him around these parts.
No, not me. I just been around that man since he got here, and he's my friend. We're good friends. But I tell you, Steven is more conservative than Jerry. Jerry's all in every year. Steven says, whoa, wait a minute, Jerry. Hold on. Easy.